Hello, you beautiful crochet people. It's Diane here with a fun little crochet project for you. If you're looking to make something with any oddballs of wool that you've left, then how about these headbands? It's a really easy and quick pattern and great for keeping your ears warm on these cold days out walking. What I love about these is they also double up as a messy bun beanie. I really enjoyed making these and I'm so glad to be able to share this pattern with you. If you'd like to see more crochet patterns, then just press the subscribe button and the notification bell and you'll get more videos as I release them. But for now, let's get started on this pattern. Okay, the yarn I'm using today in this video is King Cole's Drifter Chunky in the shade Toronto, and it's a self-striping yarn. It's lovely to work with. I'll put a link in the description below. You'll need a 6mm hook, a darning needle, and a pair of scissors and a tape measure. So I just wanted also to show you that using different types of yarns, this one was made with a DK yarn and a 4.5mm crochet hook, and you get a sort of a nice looser stitch, and it's a more of a lightweight on a lesser cold day. This one, lovely and chunky wool with a 6.5mm hook size. So as you can see, you can use whatever yarn you have handy to make one of these. If you've got a spare yarn of wool that you're not sure what to do with, you easily make one out of one ball of wool. So you can make it with any yarn, as long as you use the corresponding hook size, you're good to go. So today we're going to get started using this colour. So to begin, we do your slip knot, and a foundation chain is going to be a multiple of 2 to the width that you want your ear warmer to be. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Have your tape measure handy. I'm going to do the one that I've made is 5 inches. Let's do a couple more. So I'm going to do a couple more. So it's just over 5 inches. It's not an exact, so as long as it's a multiple of 2, and once you've got to it to the width that you want your ear warmers to be, we're then going to add 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So row 1, we're going to work what is called an Elizabeth stitch. And to do that, I bring the camera in nice and close. Going to count the 4th chain from the hook, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and put your hook in there, yarn over and pull up a loop, and try to make this particular loop nice and loose. Keep your tension nice and loose for this stitch. Yarn over, put your hook back into the same stitch, this one here that you've just worked, hook back in there and pull up another loop. So then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 4 loops, which you might have to just wiggle this a little bit to get them through. There we go. That's why you need to keep your tension nice and loose so that you can pull that hook through. Once you've pulled through all 4 loops, then chain 1, and that is called an Elizabeth stitch. So we're going to carry on along the foundation row, putting in Elizabeth stitches, but we're going to skip a stitch in between. So here's the one we've just worked. We need to skip this one, skip the next stitch, so skip 1 stitch and make your next Elizabeth stitch. So you put your hook straight in there, yarn over and pull up a loop. Again, try and just bring the wool slightly looser, up taller. Then yarn over and put your hook back into that same stitch and bring up another loop, and then yarn over and pull through. The first row is a little bit fiddly. Pull through all 4 loops and chain 1. Then we skip the next stitch, make your next Elizabeth stitch. So that's hook in, pull up a loop, yarn over, hook back through, pull up another loop, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 4 loops and chain 1. So we'll keep going. So that's skip this one and put your hook in there, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over. Remember to keep your stitches nice and loose, put your hook back in there, pull up another loop, yarn over and pull through, wiggle the hook if you need to, and then chain 1. Always remember to do the chain 1 after each Elizabeth stitch. Now we skip this one and work into the next. So hook in, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, hook back into that same loop and then pull up another loop, yarn over and pull through all 4 loops and chain 1. So continue to do that all the way along your foundation row. So skip one. And sometimes do this bit a bit slower. Skip one. And into the last one. So there is your, oh, and chain one. Nearly forgot myself there. Chain one at the end of that last. There is your first row. So for row 2, we chain 2 on top of that chain 1, so you will have 3 chains there, and turn your work. Now we make our first stitch on row 2 straight into this first one here. So there is your first Elizabeth. That's the last one you made on the first row. So there's just past there. You've got your stitch here. So hook into there, pull up a loop, yarn over, put your hook back into that same space and pull up another loop, yarn over and pull through all 4 loops and chain 1. And the next, we're placing our stitches in that space just after this stitch here. So the next one will be into here, just after this stitch here. So put your hook in, pull up a loop, yarn over, hook back through the same space, yarn over, pull through all 4 and chain 1. So the next one will be in here, hook in, pull up a loop, yarn over, hook back in that same space, pull up a loop. You've got 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 4 and chain 1. Continue along. The next one will be in here. And the next one in here. And we're at the end of the row, and instead of putting the next stitch here, which would just leave this turning chain sticking out, we always work the last Elizabeth stitch just into that space to the side of the chain 2. Let me show you. Put your hook into there and then work your Elizabeth stitch in there. Oh, that one's being fiddly. And then chain 1. So that's row 2. And that's effectively, that is your 1 row repeat. So chain 2, turn your work and work your first stitch into here, and your next stitch will be again just after this stitch here into here, so continue now to crochet along here on row 3, and I'll meet you here just to show you how to do that last stitch again. Okay, so we've come into the end of the row. We've worked a stitch just into here, so the next one, instead of being in here, we will work it just to the side of the chain 2 here. Put your hook in there, work your stitch into there. And chain 1. So I'll just show you one more row. So chain 2, 1, 2, turn your work. And you can already see the pattern starting to build here. Really pretty stitch, absolutely lovely. It's nice and thick as well. It's really good for warm garments, because it has some some substance to the stitch, so quite a good thickness. Lovely, makes a lovely thick material. So we've chained 2 on top of the chain 1 there. Work your first stitch straight into there, pull up a loop, yarn over, hook into the same space, 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 4, chain 1. Your next stitch will be just after the stitch here into this space here, hook in, pull up a loop, yarn over, hook in the same space, pull up another loop, yarn over, pull through all 4 and chain 1. So we continue along here, and just grab some more yarn. Love this yarn, it's beautiful colours. I'm actually making a shrug with this particular yarn. So as soon as I've got it all sorted, I will put up a video on how I made that as soon as I can, and it's worked up beautiful in this yarn. Different stitch, but using this particular colour of this particular yarn, and it's turning out really nice. So I will get that on, upload that video as soon as I possibly can. So don't miss out. If you would like to see that, you can always hit the subscribe button if you'd like. So we are at the end of the row again, and here's the space where you would normally put the next stitch, but as we're at the end of the row, we're going to put it just so that there's your chain 2 that you do at the end of every row, at the beginning of every row. This space here, put your hook in there and work your stitch, and chain 1. There we go. Let's pull the camera out slightly there so you can see. How beautiful is that? Love this yarn. Love this yarn. So the back, as you can see, looks the same, and yeah, you can see it has a lovely crisscross style, almost a basket weave feel to it. Absolutely lovely. So now continue to repeat that row exactly as I've just shown you. I'm starting with chaining up 2, chain 2, and putting in your first stitch in here, and then another stitch in there, all the way along, and keep going until you right, you need to know the lengths of how long to make your ear warmers. Now, the best way really to do this is to grab your tape measure, measure around your head as though it's a headband, or how you would like to wear it, and it's probably going to come to about 20 inches. If you've got a smaller head, then you don't need to crochet quite so much, or if you want it tighter around your head, but it's going to be an average size female head is around the 20 inches mark. Some are 19, some are 21. Just measure around your head, and I would usually say if you're making it for somebody else, if you make it 20 inches long, if it's an adult, you can't go too wrong. So keep crocheting now to the length you want, approximately 20 inches, and I will meet you back here to just show you how to finish off and sew in the ends. So I've crocheted the length that I want my headband to be. There we go. And to finish off, what we do is fold it over so that the two ends meet. And get it corner to corner and we're just going to slip stitch to sew the two ends together. So I put my hook in there and also in the corner of the other side, and slip stitch through and pull through. Just tighten that up, and all you're going to do is bring the camera in, slip stitch all the way along, put your hook through each side, grab the yarn, pull through the whole thing there, and then through the loop on the hook. Into the next stitch, through the next stitch on the other side, pull that through and pull that through. There. So slip stitch all the way along to the end. So you've done a slip stitch all the way along the two edges, and when you've put in your last slip stitch there, just to finish off, yarn over and pull the yarn through, pulling up a little bit of a tail there, and snip off the wool and pull that through and snug it down nice and tight. Now I'll pull the camera. So I just wanted to pull the camera out so you could see this is the headband but inside out. So now all you would do is sew in your ends with a darning needle, weave the needle in and out of the yarn, and then just make a little loop and just tie it into a little loose knot there. Then you can snip off your ends. So keep weaving in your ends and turn your headband inside out. You've got a seam there which you can hide around to the back of your neck, and there is your headband.